Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss about subject, behavior subject and replay subject. We are going to see the difference between them and we will see the difference with one example. We will create one example and we will see the difference in action. So let's quickly create a new Angular project using Angular CLI and let's give name as a subject demo and let's enter. Now let's open this project in Visual Code. So here we can see this app component here, and to explain this subject, behavior subject and replay subject, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a three more component, each for each subject type. So by that we can understand how can we pass a data between the components using a subject, and also we can understand the difference. So let me create a three more components using Angular CLI. Now let's go back to our HTML here, and here let me open the subject.html, and to save the time I have already created this HTML, and let me copy and paste this in the subject. Let's copy for behavior subject and let me copy for replay subject as well. So let's copy and paste for replay subject. So here we are just defining this header here, and then we are telling about the type of the subject, and here we have this get message method and this data. So when user will click on this get method, we are going to subscribe to the subject observable, and we are showing the data in the paragraph array. So so let's create a get message method for our component, and return type should be white. And also we can see this data, so we need to define this data here. The type should be string array, and let's initialize it with empty array, and let's copy this in the other component. Now we need to declare our subject, behavior subject and replace subject. For that we need to create one service. So let's create a service. I can give name like a common service, and let's hit enter. So our service is ready. Now let me open our service, and here I am going to declare the subject, all three subject. So let's say subject, and let me give name as a subject. Let's import it, and let's we can define the type also here, so it should be string type, and let me copy and paste it. Now let's rename this to behavior subject, and this one as a replay subject, and here also it should be behavior subject, and let's import it, and this should be replay subject, and let's import this as well. And we can see this error, and there's one major difference we are having between subject and behavior subject is that when we are talking about behavior subject, we need to initialize it. So this is a type of string. So let's initialize it with this some string value. So let me add it here. Let's say init value. Now our service is ready. Now we need to inject this service in our component. So let's go back to our component, and to inject it we need constructor, right? So let me define the constructor here. Let's say private, common, and common service. Let's import it. And now in our get message, whenever a person will click on that get button, right? So in the get message, what I'm going to do is, as it is a behavior subject component, so from common service, uh, like let's say this dot common dot behavior subject, I am going to subscribe it. So let's subscribe, and I am going to push that subscribe data in the data array because that data we are showing in the HTML. So let's copy this and let me add this dot data dot push. So we are adding that behavior subject observable data under this array. And same thing we are going to do for other components. So let's copy and paste it for replay subject, and same for subject. Let's import our service and let's change this behavior subject to subject. Let's go back to our replay subject. Here let's import our service, and here also I am going to change to replay subject. Now my three component is ready for subject, behavior subject and replay subject. So it's time to add this component in our app component.html. So for that also, to save the time, I have already created this HTML. Let me copy and paste. It's very straightforward and simple HTML. So here I am just adding one text box, and here we are adding a two-way data binding on this variable, and in this button we are calling this send message. So there we are just doing that, we are adding that text box message on all the three observable, whether it is subject, behavior subject or replay subject. And below I just added all our three components. So let me go to our app component.ts file, and let's remove this. Let's go back to our HTML. So as I told, we need one message, right? So let me define this message as a type of a string, and let's initialize it with empty string. And also let's create one send message method. Return type should be white for this as well. And what we are going to do is we are going to add that value in the three observable which is in the common service, right? So I need to inject our common service as well. And now I can add, let's start from subject, and this is all that subjects having this next method. So let me call this next, and we can see that it accepted a string value because we have defined the type of our observable is string. So let's add our message here. Let's copy and paste for behavior subject and replay subject. And after that, let's clear our message. And for our understanding, let's give one alert like message sent, and let's save this. And one more thing which we need to do is, as we are using two-way data binding here, so in our app module we need to import forms module. So that's all the changes we are needed for this. So let's run our application. So let me run a command ng serve. So it's compiling our application, and also let me open my browser. Oh, it's taking more time to compile. Let's wait. And once it will compile, then we can browse it here with the, sorry, my caps lock is on, localhost 4200. So it's generating, it's still loading. So let me stop and come back when it is compiled. So it's compiled successfully. Now let me go back to our browser and we can see our all three component. So the subject and all behavior subject or replay subject all is a special type of observable, and in the subject you will get only next value, you will not get current or initial value. But when we compare with the behavior subject, so in the behavior subject you will get current and initial value and next value as well. So and also as we saw, like when we declared our behavior subject, so we need to initialize, we must need to initialize at the time of declaration, but it is not needed in when we will work for subject or replay subject. And when we talk about the replay subject, so we get all the values. So in the subject we get only the next value, in the behavior subject we get current value and next value, and in the replay subject we get all the values. So let's see this in the action. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send a few messages like one, then two, then three, then four, and then five. And now if I will click on this get, so we will say we can see that in the subject we get only next value, and so I because we are subscribing, after that we call that next method on our subject, so we will not get any data when we will talk about the subject. So let me click on this subget button, and we are not getting anything here, so that is expected. Now let's do same for behavior subject. So behavior subject we get that previous value as well, right? So previous value was 5. So if I will click on this get, so I should see that 5 here. So I can see the 5 here. That is correct. And in the replay subject, we get all the previous values. So let me click on this get button. So we can see that we are getting this all the previous value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's one more thing which I want to share. When we are working for replay subject, so in this constructor, we can define the buffer size also. So as we are getting all the previous values, but suppose in any scenario I want only 3 previous value or 4 previous value, so I can define that buffer size here, and then we will get only that number of values. And if I will add 1 here, so it should behave same as a behavior subject, because in the behavior subject also we are getting one previous value. So if buffer size is 1, then replay subject and behavior subject should behave same. So I hope with this video you are able to understand the difference between subject and behavior subject and replay subject. You are able to understand like how we pass that same data in 3 different sibling components. So this is a widely asked interview question also, like how can you pass a data in the sibling components. When we are working on the parent and child, then we can use maybe input and output or view child. But when it is a sibling component, then we can use the subject for passing a data. So that's all for the video. Thank you for watching.